Face mask, face off. This morning, Hillsborough business owners say the burden is unfairly on them to make sure customers are covering up. And now the county is facing a lawsuit. Plus, code enforcers are going bar to bar to make sure they are following the ban on alcohol service. What the state is doing if they are caught not complying. And she was nearly homeless until help showed up when she least expected it. It's Sunday, June 28, 2020. You are up on the bright side here on 10 Tampa Bay. Thank you so much for waking up with us here. Starting your morning with us, I'm Josh Sidorowitz. About 30 minutes past sunrise. Taking a live look out from Vinoy Park in St. Pete this morning. A little hazy, a little humid out there as that sun comes up. Let's get to meteorologist Natalie Ferrari forecasting from home. Good morning to you, Natalie. This is air you can wear, baby.
Good morning, Josh. Yeah, air you can wear, and then in some spots it's not very comfortable to breathe, especially if you have some respiratory issues.
He's considering trying to find ways to get cars for other people in our community. Well, you know, NASA is planning to put astronauts back on the moon very soon, but before they go, they need your help designing where they'll go next. But first, your moment of Zen. You're up on the bright side here on 10 Tampa Bay. You know, NASA's got its sights set on returning to the moon by 2024. They just got to build the spacecraft to get there first. And the agency needs your help designing one very important feature of that spacecraft, the toilet, or the lunar loo, as NASA is calling it. They're offering some big bucks, too, for the winning design, $35,000. Now, there are some specific requirements here. One of the big ones, it has got to accommodate both men and women, since NASA says, obviously, women are going to be a part of this new lunar mission. It will also need to work in both open space, where there's almost no gravity. You can imagine that would be a little tricky. And then on the moon, too, which has about a sixth of the gravity of Earth. You know, you don't think about it, you know, having to go in zero gravity can be quite tricky, I'd imagine.
I don't want to think about it. Not even in current gravity.
I'm sorry, everyone's eating their breakfast. They're like, click, we're done. Seen a few people biking by, walking by. Probably best to do it now, where you really get your sweat on a little bit later. Good morning to you on this Sunday, June 28, 2020. I'm Josh Sidorowitz in studio. Meteorologist Natalie Ferrari forecasting another hot one from home. Good morning.
Good morning, Josh.
Yeah, I don't go outside.
Yeah, another hot one for sure. And you're right, they're smart for taking advantage of the morning hours.
Well, yeah, because otherwise you do it later. Please, you'll be a puddle of nothing.
A puddle of Josh.
A puddle of Josh. It's true. Yes. Face mask, face off. This morning, Hillsborough business owners say that the burden is unfairly on them to make sure customers are covering up. And now the county is facing a lawsuit. Plus, code enforcers are going bar to bar to make sure that they are following the ban on alcohol service. What the state is doing if they are caught not complying. And how going virtual wound up helping a young violinist play one of her most important performances yet. It's Sunday, June 28th. 2020, you are up on the bright side here on 10 Tampa Bay. Thank you so much for starting your Sunday here with us. As always, I'm Josh Sidorowitz. Take a live look from South Straub Park in St. Pete. We're in a stare down with a squirrel. Getting a little nutty out there. Meteorologist Natalie Ferrari forecasting from home. Look at him, Natalie. Like, you guys are crazy.
Josh, you had an opportunity. You know I live my life as squirrel.
Well, with the recent rise in COVID cases, doctors across the state are now demanding that Jacksonville reconsider its plans to host the Republican convention in a couple months. About 200 doctors signed a letter to the city's mayor. They say that the convention should either be postponed or at least scaled back, and that masks should be mandated. They say that with 40,000 people from across the country expected to attend, it would just be irresponsible. That letter comes as Vice President Mike Pence announced that he is canceling his campaign bus tour to our state because of the rise in cases. He also canceled campaign stops in Texas and Arizona, but his office says he does still plan to travel to all three of the states this week to meet with the governors and healthcare officials.
I'm 10 Tampa Bay's Eric Glasser, and what took place inside this Hillsborough County bowling alley could have a big impact on the county's mask mandate.
As far as these mandates go, you only have to cover your face when you are inside. So to get a sharper insight into why, we spoke with the Pinellas County Medical Examiner. All right, we should be getting some updated coronavirus case numbers coming out in just a few hours from the state. We, of course, recorded a new record yesterday. We saw more than 9,000 new cases, and that continues to bump up that black dotted line, our 14-day moving average, which has been on a steady incline since we started phase 2 of reopening at the beginning of June. Now, look at Florida's rate of positive tests. That is now at 12.8%. That's an important number. Experts at Johns Hopkins say a high number could mean that a state is missing mild or asymptomatic cases. The World Health Organization says that number should be at 5% or lower for 14 days before a community considers reopening. The last time Florida hit 5% was on June 14th. And Florida is doing more testing, more than 78,000 on Friday. That's up from about 34,000 just a week ago. Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties in South Florida, they remain hot spots. But look at Hillsborough County, moving up now to the 4th highest number of coronavirus cases in our state. Hillsborough also had a record high number of new infections. Code enforcement agents across the area are going bar to bar these next few days. They're making sure that businesses are following the emergency ban on alcohol service. The state passed that emergency order Friday, banning bars from serving booze, but they can still sell it to go. The state says for right now, bars caught not following the new rules will not be penalized. Instead, the focus is on educating. And we're not the only state seeing a spike in daily cases. Arizona and Texas are starting to see their ICU capacities max out at some large hospitals there. Across the entire country, the number of new confirmed cases surged to an all-time high, 45,300 reported on Friday. 31 states have reported jumps in cases compared to 2 weeks ago. New York still reporting the highest number across the country with more than 391,000 cases, but Florida has creeped up now to the 6th highest. And as cases do continue to climb here, it's a good time to remind you there is an app for that. If you don't have it already, you can download the free 10 Tampa Bay app and enable the alerts when you do it. That way you can get updates when we're not on the air sent straight to your phone. You know, often it's easier to learn a special skill when you're one-on-one with someone, but because of COVID-19, virtual learning has become the new norm for a lot of people, which happened to work out perfectly, actually, for one Florida orchestra student. 10 Tampa Bay reporter Bobby Lewis is on the road with a child thankful for music lessons hundreds of miles from home. All right, Natalie, but first, here are 3 things to know right now about the coronavirus here in Florida. Let's start first with the numbers. More than 9,500 new cases reported yesterday. That was another record. The rate of positive tests is now at 12.8%. The World Health Organization says that number should be at 5% or lower for 14 days before a community considers any kind of reopening. Second here, code enforcement agents are checking in to make sure bars are following the state's emergency order that banned alcohol service. The state says, right now at least, it's just focusing on educating bars that aren't complying. They're not penalizing them. And third, Hillsborough County is now facing a lawsuit over its mask mandate. Republican State Representative Anthony Sabatini says that he filed the suit on behalf of a small business owner in Plant City. He says the regulation is, quote, outside the permissible scope of local government. The mayor in Miami-Dade County is closing all beaches there for the upcoming holiday weekend, July 3rd through the 7th. The public health experts there say that they're concerned big crowds could help fuel more coronavirus cases. So what about our beaches here in the Bay Area? Let's bring in 10 Tampa Bay reporter Liz Birch. Liz, you spoke with the sheriff's office, so what do they have to say about this? You're up on the bright side on 10 Tampa Bay. The Saharan dust cloud that we've been talking about still hanging around out there. In fact, this is the view from the International Space Station. The dust cloud has been nicknamed Godzilla because, get this, it is 700 miles wider than the United States. This was the view over New Orleans the other day. The dust there making the Big Easy look more like the Big Hazy. And you know what, though? It still creates some pretty spectacular sunsets. In fact, one of our 10 Tampa Bay producers took this picture in Indian Shores Friday evening. It can also make for some good sunrises, too, as we've talked about. And if you happen to take a shot of either, it's really easy to send it to us. Just download our free 10 Tampa Bay app and hit share your photo. And maybe we can share it on air. Bring in meteorologist Natalie Ferrari. We continue to talk about how nice it makes for sunrises and sunsets, but what is so funny? What?
No, the hazy. No, the squirrely person in me is just like, did he just say the big hazy? How long did it take you to ravel this
I can't
one up?
take credit for that. I can't. I was just reading the words that as they were coming up. It was all in the delivery.
Oh my word! But you
Boy,
owned it.
You've got a heck of a
Very, very
delay
Josh.
there. You were laughing. It was like that's 15 seconds ago. Jeez.
Because it was that funny. At least it gives me something else to kind of pull the funnies out of when it comes to our forecast, because nothing's been really hilarious about it. Got the heat, got the humidity, and then this dust cloud has just been hanging over us.
God, exhausted.
Josh, everything's a delay in my brain right now. Are you kidding me? Even that comment.
Oh, goodness. CBS Sunday Morning is next, but first, let's get you in the know before we let you go here this morning. People were outside the Orient Road jail overnight. They were there demanding the release of a protester who was arrested during a march in Hyde Park earlier in the day yesterday. Tampa police are now reviewing video that shows someone driving into a crowd during that protest. The driver claims the crowd surrounded his car and then damaged it. He was not arrested. All right, we're expecting some updated coronavirus case numbers in just a couple hours here. This comes after Florida once again set a new single-day record with more than 9,500 coronavirus cases reported yesterday. You can see the state's 14-day moving average continues to increase, which is obviously the opposite of what we want to see. Florida's positive test rate now stands at 12.8%. Globally, cases have now surpassed 10 million. And because of the spike in cases, about 200 doctors are now demanding that Jacksonville mayor either postpone or at least scale back the upcoming Republican National Convention in that town. They also want to see that masks be mandatory. About 40,000 people are expected to attend the RNC in Jacksonville, scheduled for late August.